Well, some really goods, and I thought a couple very average. First of all, I do like, I didn't think Ferris, I thought they had an injury or two, and I thought Grand Valley's, they're going to win a lot of games. I mean, they've got a lot of Division One transfers. Van Tuberen, Jin, I thought we did a pretty good job on. I mean, the kid was an All-American 2 years ago. I like the Negron kid, number 11. We did not know as much about Tulliver, and he tore us up as far as from the three-point line. So I was a little disappointed in that, but our defense at one time, late in the first half, they had scored 6 field goals, or maybe at halftime, and 4 of them were threes. So we did a good job defensively. We pushed the ball well offensively, and I was disappointed in our half-court offense. I didn't think that AJ had any energy the first half, and then the second half he played pretty well. The 2-point guards had, 2 more assists than last game and 2 less turnovers, and that was good. I thought Joey and Malik to come out with between the 2, 6, and 9 rebounds, 13 and 4 points, 5 and 3 assists. We were very solid there. And believe it or not, Marcus Bingham might have played as good defensively as he did offensively, not just with the 6 blocks, but his ball screen defense that was missing in action a little more last year was pretty good tonight, and that helped us a lot. I think, Tyson and AJ both can guard real well. I think we had to get a few more shots for Joey and for Gabe and even Christie. Turning the ball over less helps that. The disappointment of the free throw line, I have no idea. We've shot so well from the free throw line, and neither game have we shot well. And so we'll have to work on that. I thought we were poor from the three-point line for the kind of threes we got. But all in all, to get 11 blocks, to get only 12 turnovers, so we cut that in half. Still 22 assists on 32 baskets is not quite the norm for us, but is up there. The rebounds, out-rebound them by 10. Considering we missed almost 10 free throws, so there's 10 rebounds they got there. So the three-point shooting was a disappointment. Free throw shooting was a disappointment. But there were a lot of positives, and now we don't have to worry about any more exhibition games because I watched Kansas last night. Things get a little more real now coming up. Questions?
Hi, Tom. So overall, what are your thoughts on AJ and Madi after these last 2 exhibition games? Where do you see them kind of in your solid rotation? And their thoughts on, their overall athletic ability and how you guys are benefiting from them since last season?
Well, AJ has definitely made some progress. I mean, I say I almost have 7 starters. I could start him, or I could start Tyson. I could start Malik and Joey, so I almost have 7 starters. But he wasn't very good the first half, and, I don't know why. I mean, so we'll have a meeting on that tomorrow and just figure it out because he was a lot more energetic the second half. I still don't like the fact that our point guards aren't running our team, aren't communicating as well. That's going to take a little time. As far as Marty goes, he still can do some really good things, and yet he still struggles to do some things. But between him and Julius, I think we're going to have 2 guys that we're going to be able to sub in there for Markey that bring different things to the table. One's a shot blocker, one's a stronger kid, although Marty's pretty strong too. But I'm not disappointed in Marty. I just need to continue to get him more time and more time, but he will get more time.
Tom, over here. Your level of sort of trust that this Marcus is the Marcus that you'll see throughout the season at this point?
Well, it's growing. It's growing. Honestly, I've been pretty proud of Marcus. His mental approach and everything this summer was off the charts. He's done a better job in everything, school, basketball. His strength is, he's not as, you'd still like him to gain 30 more pounds, but I mean, he's not there weight-wise, but he is there strength-wise. And I thought his conditioning was a lot better tonight, considering he never looked drained. He had some energy. So I am feeling better about Marcus because he's done it now for 5-6 months where he's been more consistent. Things do change in a game. There's no question about that. And we'll see what happens when you get in front of 20,000 people and everything. But I think he's making some big strides. I think we can go to him in the post a little bit more. But where he improved tonight was defensively, not only on ball screens, but not letting it in there and then blocking shots. And I think offensively we'll be able to get him the ball a little bit more than we did.
Tom, speaking of going to a bigger stage environment in Madison Square Garden coming up here, Christie had another pretty good night for you, but how do you hope that maybe he elevates his game going into the Kansas game, or what do you want to see from him going to play
Well, I
Kansas?
think Max was a little down on himself because he gave up some shots there late, and his defense has been really good, but he had 2 or 3 in a row, and he just kind of, it's difficult, I think, to try to hope that you're going to play every play in every game. And you start playing the score, you start playing the opponent. But as I told him, the great players don't, I remember my first year, Scott Skiles wanted to get 40 and 20 assists against the worst teams, but I've been very pleased with Max. He's a treat to coach. He still rebounded the ball a little, but not as good as he did last time. I thought they did a pretty good job, but I didn't think our points did a good enough job in the break getting to him early. So some of what I expect more out of Max, a little better defense, but he's been playing great defensively, and we got to do a little better job of getting him the ball in places because he can shoot it, he can handle it, he can do a lot of things.
Tom, I'm wondering with Tyson, he's got a lot of intangibles around him and the little things that he does that don't necessarily show up in the box score. What have you seen from him in these 2 games, particularly with how it's affected the rest of the defense?
Well, the only thing I was mad at Tyson about is he's passing up some shots, but where you don't see what he does, 6 assists, no turnovers, 4 steals. I mean, he gets his hands on more balls. He drives guys nuts. He's not that big, doesn't have that long of arms. He just, I don't know, he's got great anticipation skills. And he's very, very good defensively. And I thought he slacked up a little bit there, too, in second half. Guys drove around him. But I really like the Jordan Harris kid from Grand Valley a lot. I think he's going to be a very good point guard. We actually did a pretty good job on him. But you're right, Tyson, he makes a lot of plays. What he is, he's a very, very good shooter, and he hasn't taken a shot yet outside of, 15 feet, and he really does shoot it well. So that'll be one of the things we'll talk about tomorrow. And yet I thought we settled a little bit when they went zone. They played a lot of zone second half. Thought we settled a little bit for those threes and didn't shoot them as well. They weren't bad shots, though, so I can't complain about that.
Tom, it looks like you got about a 9, maybe 10-man rotation going into the season. Is this where you want it to be, or are you still trying to shrink that a little more?
Shrink it a little bit, be honest with you. I think we have 7 right now that are etched in stone. Jaden Akins maybe didn't play quite as good as he did the last game. Unlike him, energy things is what he does. Second half at the end, he went in and got some rebounds in that, but there were some loose balls in that I think he saw, and he's getting better with his shooting and figuring out what's a good shot and a bad shot. But I really like Jaden, and I know he's going to be in the playing group. And it's Pierre and Marty. What do those guys do? And yet, you're talking right now. We're figuring out no injuries, figuring no foul trouble. So what you hope to have is an 8-man playing group, and then 2 guys that can come in on situations like that. I think we're close. We're close to that right now.
Tom, kind of along those same lines, looked like a couple experiments tonight, 2-point guards at times. How was with the 5 to start the second half? I mean, how much are those kind of options, or how much are you kind of tinkering with that, would you say?
Yeah, there are options. We did do that. We played the 2 points together. We played Joey and Malik. We wanted to see how that worked at times. And like I said, Joey's smart enough to cover a lot of different people, and he rebounds pretty well. And Malik is a very good offensive rebounder. Malik's been playing better. I would say he had an average game, yet he had, 6 rebounds is an average and 3 assists. But I thought he passed up shots and said he wasn't quite feeling it. I said, well, that's where you feel it, is in the exhibition games, not in the real ones. But I do think we have some options to go big, put Malik at the 3, and we have some options to go small, put Joey at center. So we have some options there.
Dom, when Markey hit that 3, he held that pose for a long time. When he takes those, do you expect him to go in, and does he expect him to go in?
Oh, he expects every shot that he ever took to go in, which is a good thing for a shooter. That's what we laughed about together. Markey has worked hard on his 3, and he's going to be able to shoot 3s. It's the and one things that I don't want. The dribble between your legs, the one-hand catches, and just launch one. If he's got a ready shoot 3, he can shoot any time he wants. That was a perfect shot. He did follow through perfect instead of shooting it like this. If he can get 8 of those a game, I'm cool with him taking all 8. But off the between the legs, behind the back dribble, throwing it up there like he's Kevin Durant, him and I will get real close together, comfy, both sitting on the bench, So he knows it, and that's why he laughed when he came out, and even agreed. So Mark has done a very good job. The maturity is probably the best word to use. He's way better, and that's a tribute to him. Did it take longer than I would like? Sure, but I can tell you a lot of guys it took longer. Some who ended up in the NBA. So Markey can shoot that 3, and I felt comfortable with it when it's ready to shoot 3.
Coach, you mentioned a minute ago about the communication of your point guards, and so Hall and Brown are your captains this year, and I just wondered, how would you evaluate your player-level leadership at this point in the season?
Boy, a lot of deep questions. Gabe has done an incredible job with his energy this year. I mean, I walked through today, he was off the charts, unbelievable. He's another guy that's improved a lot in that area. Malik is more the quiet guy that understands everything. In a perfect world, your point guard, your quarterback, not many football teams have their center as their leader, And so we still need those point guards to do more and talk more and communicate more. But as far as locker rooms and practice, Gabe and Malik are making progress. It's an area that they haven't done. There's not a million great leaders anymore. But they're making progress, and I was pleased, with Gabe. I've been pleased all year, but Malik is starting to come. I think Malik's going to be a big key to this team because he can do a lot of things and play a lot of positions, and he's really a good, solid player. Sometimes I don't know if he understands that as much, like by you passing up shots, I said, let me coach you. I'll tell you if it's a bad shot. I want him to take those shots. He's worked hard on his shooting, and they're good shots for him. And sometimes when he puts it on the floor and guys aren't on him, that's when those charges happen.
Tom, what's the biggest takeaway for you from these first 2 exhibition games? I mean, maybe you're starting to see kind of what this team's identity could be just because you've had so many different guys playing on the floor and just, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is difficult. You're trying to get everybody in. My kid turns it over one more time. He's off the Izzo scholarship. But other than that, I think the biggest thing I got out of is we won 2 games. And winning is always important. You got to learn how to win. But the mistakes, the free throw shooting, it bothers me because they should be mistakes that shouldn't happen. I mean, we are a really good free throw shooting team. I mean, I've got the stats to show you. And we've shot them all summer. And so that means there's a little lack of focus or something. And those things are controllable. And so you kind of hope the things that are controllable, when we had a bunch of turnovers. If a team is really pressing you, that's one thing. But when you have them like we did against Ferris, those things are still concerning, you know. And I'm waiting for a player to get mad about it, not the coach. And that's the progress that a team makes as they go. But all in all, it's been a fun team to coach. And I think at times we can really get up and down the floor. I think we have a great enough base. We have players to work with, okay? The cupboard's not bare, so we have players to work with. They got to now each improve a little bit, and we got to coach a little harder and look forward. I mean, the beauty of these games like Kansas, where I look at a lot of teams are playing nobodies, the beauty of those is you get to see where you're at, and one way or another, you know, you don't question, was your team up for Grand Valley or up for Ferris, or they look at it the same way. Like I said, I have great respect for Rick and that program, and I remind him, our guys, you know, we did get beat by Grand Valley 10-12, I don't know, I guess it was back in the Neitzel days, because I still remember him changing out in the hallway because we kicked him out of the locker room, so that was, couldn't do that today, could you? 3 lawsuits on that one, but in general, I really like what I have to work with. I like the guys, I got good guys, I got good students, I got everything you want, except I'd like them to communicate a little more. I'd like them to be a little more demonstrative on each other, pushing each other, and that'll come. It'll take some time, but it'll come. But we're right into the fire right away, and then we come back, got a game, and then you know, who do we got then? Louisville, Butler, I mean, and then we got that tournament down in with. Just look at some of the tournaments, and there's some good teams. There's a lot of good teams in our tournament, so. Within a couple weeks, you know, there's going to be a lot of big games that we're going to play, and we're just going to have to adjust both ways. If you win some, you're going to have to look at that. If you lose some, you're going to have to adjust. I knew every year when I make out the schedule, but this team, I think, has shown that defensively we're better, and that's one thing we wanted to be from last year. Rebounding, I think we're better. You know, I can't tell against these kind of teams, but I do think we're better. Running, I think we're a lot better. Leadership, as far as on the court at the point, you know, I think we got a lot of reasons we're better, but we'll find out shortly how much better. Thanks, gang. See you later.